Hey guys, my name's Thiago. Welcome to my channel. And today I'm going to talk about how I made an extra $700 a month last year by doing Airbnb. So if you guys are interested in thinking about doing this, make sure to watch this whole video because I'm going to talk about the 10 steps that I took in order to make this happen. So I want to start off by, talking about my story. So last year, I took a look at my life and I saw that me and my wife were two busy individuals. I ran a business and she went to school and worked. So we were barely spending time at home and we had a second spare bedroom. So we were looking at what can we do with this, right? Because we were doing an office and Airbnb was exploding. So we decided to dive into Airbnb. Now, one thing I have to tell you guys is that Airbnb is not a walk in the park, but it's very lucrative, right? And before I go on, I want to say to you guys, hey, if you find value in this video, make sure that you subscribe because I'm going to be bringing more content like this in the future, and let me know what else you want to hear about, right? So overall, by doing Airbnb last year, we had a great experience, right? It was fantastic. There were only two instances that, it was a horror story, right? It wasn't terrible, but it was a pretty bad horror story. And if you guys want me to talk about this, make sure that you guys leave a comment down below. Besides that, we met cruel people from all around. Nothing was really broken. And the money was good. It was an extra money that we used to travel and do other things, right? But anyways, enough of me mumbling. Let's dive deep so that I can go into these 10 steps on how you can run your successful Airbnb business. So step number one is check your regulations around. Especially now, things are very tight. Things are different from last year. You can still do Airbnb, right? But there's a lot more requirements. Check the regulations on the app and see what you must do, to follow the directions and not get banned from using the app or get in trouble with your authorities. Now, step number two, once you've checked all of that, everything's okay, make sure that you do market research. Make sure that you check that Airbnb is a viable business that you can do where you are. Is your location a destination area? Is your location a college town? Is your location a place of business? Is your location somewhere where people are actually going to come? Check who is doing Airbnb around. Are there a lot of people? Are there a few people? Are there no people? You want to make sure that when you start this, you're going to get some business, right? And again, maybe not a lot of people are doing it because of the circumstances now, but maybe there's a lot of demand because you have something special near your house, like a center that people go and do business, or hospitals, or just check and see if people are going to come and stay at your place. Now, step number three is very important. Make sure you create a business plan, right? So in everything I do, I take it serious. I create a mini business plan. It doesn't have to be an all-out, 10-page, summary business plan. I guess if you're a very detailed person, you can do this, but just see, what you're going to need, what you're going to need to buy, the days that you're going to need to do this, and the things that you're going to need in order to do this. Also, make sure that you learn about Airbnb, learn what people like to do when they're in town, right? So you're going to create a plan on how you're going to run this business. And if you want me to talk about an Airbnb business plan or how to start or how to write an Airbnb business plan, make sure to drop a comment down below because I will make sure I go over that subject. Step number four is choose a niche, right? What are you going to do? Are you going to rent out your room, your whole house? Are you going to rent out your boat? Are you going to rent out your cabin? Everybody lives in a different place. Everybody's situation is different. Everybody has a different amount of space that they can use. So make sure you know what you're doing. Step number five is choose your theme and decorations for your room. What type of theme and decorations do you want? I mean, if you don't have enough money, you can just put, a simple bed with a pillow, a table, right? But I highly recommend that do research online, look at magazines, look at Pinterest, see what people like. Usually when people stay at a hotel, they like that their bed has white linen, or they like that their room has a coffee maker because sometimes they come in late and they wake up super early and they need that fuel. So just choose a specific style. Maybe if you're near a beach, you do like a nautical style, or if you're in the cabin, you do like a woodsy feel, right? But this is something that needs to be personalized, and this is something that people will also talk about and will market to other people for you. Step number 6, figure out how your guests are going to check in, right? So this is very important. This is something that's very overlooked. So are your guests going to meet you somewhere? Do you have an electronic pad on your door with numbers that they can type in, or wireless entry? This is all things that you need to look into. I myself, I had wireless entry. I used the August app. They had a code. They went in. When they went out, the code changed so they couldn't come back in the house, right? So look into these options. See what works most for you and make it simple, but also make it practical. Step number 7, select how often you want your place to be booked. Do you want your place to be booked all the time or just sometime? Ourselves, we wanted to book our place and make the most amount of money that we could, but we also wanted times for ourselves, right? Because having guests over your house can get very exhausting. So we blocked off a week for ourselves, and the other weeks we rented the house out. And we were about at 85% to capacity, right? So we were almost booked all the time. The only reason we weren't booked all the time is because we put spaces in between the days that the guests checked in and out in order to clean the place. Besides that, if we didn't do that, we would be booked literally all the time. Step number 8, once you figure all that out, make sure you also research your price, right? What are the demand in your area for the price, right? Usually if you're in a nicer area, the price is going to be higher. If your area is kind of, questionable, it's going to be lower. Are you also making your place like a high-end stay or a low-end stay? Check what people are doing in your Airbnb. What are the other, Airbnb hosts charging per night? Also, one thing that I recommend is try using like a pricer tool, right? Because sometimes you can price higher on weekends or on a holiday than you charge on weekdays, and that's actually going to put more money and more revenue in your pocket. And step number 9 is make sure that you leave your clients the essentials, right? So go above and beyond, right? You're running essentially a hotel, right? So what do you get when you go into a hotel? You usually get a mini fridge, you usually get water, you usually get coffee maker. You can leave them a couple of snacks, right? Towels, soap, shampoo, detergent, all these little things you have to think about. All these little things are going to add to the experience. And believe it or not, people do require these things, right? Especially if they're used to doing to a certain stay, they go to your house. That can earn you a bad review, believe it or not. And it can also greatly affect the way that, they spent their time over there, which will also increase the review that they give you. And the better the reviews, the more people you're going to attract in the app. And that's something for another day that I can talk about too. And the last step that I'm going to talk about is make sure you have good communication with your guests. When they text you, make sure you respond. When they have a question, make sure you answer it. Don't leave them hanging for a long time. If it's too much for you, try to get somebody to co-host and that can, answer their questions when you're not available. Because this can also, negatively affect their experience. And you want to make sure that they have the best experience possible. You want to make sure that they talk good about you, especially if you're sharing your house with somebody, right? Doesn't create any conflict. It creates a very easy transition. And then this is a very cool business if you're sharing a home because you're going to meet a lot of cool, different people that you wouldn't meet otherwise. Guys, these are the 10 ways that what I did in order to run a successful Airbnb business to make over $5,000 running it in only a couple of months. I was averaging about $700 a month. That's a good amount of money for some people. A good side hustle, which I barely had to put in effort, right? So guys, if you found value out of this video, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Whenever I release a new video, you guys will be the ones that are notified. Also, if you guys like my content, I'm going to also link some videos on the side of this channel, one of the sides. I don't know which side it is, but you can click on one of the cards and select the video that you're interested in. And that wraps up another video, guys. Thanks for watching. Till next time.